Hi there, I'm Dr. Fergal Armstrong. A craving can feel physical, urgent, and completely irrational all at once. Your heart races, your mind fixates, and your body screams that you need the substance right now, even when you rationally know you don't. People describe cravings as overwhelming, impossible to resist, like a tidal wave. But here's what you need to understand. There's a neuroscience behind why cravings feel this way, and there's a crucial fact that can change everything. Let's talk about it. A craving is your brain's learned prediction that drug use should happen now, combined with a physiological stress response. The prediction component comes from the learning and memory systems we've discussed. Through repeated pairing of cues with drug use, your brain has encoded powerful associations. When you encounter those cues, your brain automatically generates an expectation. Drug use should occur. Brain imaging studies show this clearly. When people with substance use disorders are exposed to drug-related cues, specific circuits light up. The ventromedial prefrontal cortex tracks the subjective value of the drug. The nucleus accumbens and the ventral striatum activate in the reward system. The anterior cingulate cortex engages and the insula, which processes bodily sensations, becomes active. The stress response component makes cravings feel urgent and physical. When the brain's prediction isn't met, when you're trying not to use, this creates a mismatch. That mismatch triggers stress circuitry. You experience this as a physical arousal, increased heart rate, muscle tension, sweating, agitation. Your stress hormones rise. The anterior cingulate cortex, which processes conflict and decision making, shows hyperactivity. You feel compelled to resolve this tension, and your brain's solution is to use the substance. Cravings don't appear randomly, they're triggered, and the triggers are remarkably specific and personal. People are powerful triggers. The individuals you used with, dealers, even friends or family members associated with your using pattern. Seeing them, talking to them, or even thinking about them can activate the learned associations. Places work in the same way. Your using location, routes you took to obtain drugs, even broader environmental contexts like a particular neighborhood, pub, or social setting. The environmental cues are processed rapidly and often below conscious awareness. You can feel a craving before you consciously recognize where you are. Emotions are especially complex triggers. Negative emotions, stress, anxiety, anger, sadness, loneliness are common. If you historically used substances to cope with these feelings, they become conditioned triggers. But positive emotions can trigger too. Celebration, excitement, relaxation. If you associated substance use with good times, those states become cues. Time of day and routines matter more than people realize. If you always used at a certain time, after work, late at night, first thing in the morning, that time itself becomes a trigger. The ritual and routine aspects of use create their own powerful cue patterns. Cravings can feel like they appear out of nowhere because cue-driven brain activation happens rapidly. Research from 2025 on methamphetamine cue reactivity shows that specific brain circuits activate quickly when drug cues are encountered. The claustrum and anterior cingulate cortex bidirectional circuits are particularly important. They create a feedback loop where drug cues gain salience and drive both drug-taking and drug-seeking behavior. The orbitofrontal cortex, ventromedial prefrontal cortex, and striatal regions show heightened reactivity to drug cues compared to neutral stimuli. This enhanced salience attribution makes drug cues capture attention and dominate your mental state rapidly and intensely. But here's the game-changing insight. Cravings rise and fall if not acted upon. Cravings are like waves. They have a predictable pattern. They build, they peak, and then they subside. Research on craving dynamics shows that if you don't act on a craving, it typically peaks within 15 to 30 minutes and then decreases. This is crucial because when you're in the middle of a craving, it feels like it will last forever. It feels like the only way to make it stop is to use. But that's not true. If you can ride out the peak, if you can tolerate the discomfort for those 15 to 30 minutes, the intensity will naturally decrease. This is the basis of a technique called urge surfing, treating the craving like a wave you ride rather than a command you must obey. The wave rises, peaks, and falls. Your job is to stay on the board until it subsides. Cravings are powerful, but they are temporary. First, identify your specific triggers. Keep a craving diary. Note when cravings occur, what preceded them, where you were and who you were with. What were you feeling? Patterns will emerge. Once you know your triggers, you can plan to avoid them or prepare for them. Second, learn and practice urge surfing. When a craving hits, pause. Notice where you feel it in your body, breathe slowly, and remind yourself, this is temporary, it will peak and then fall. I can ride this out. Set a timer if it helps. Seeing that 15 or 20 minutes pass makes the process concrete. Third, have a specific plan for peak craving moments. Who will you call? What will you do? Where will you go? Don't rely on in-the-moment decision-making when your brain is flooded with craving circuitry activation. Finally, understand that successfully writing out a craving weakens it. Each time you surf the urge without acting, you're weakening the neural pathway linking cue to use. You're retraining your brain. Cravings feel overwhelming because of rapid cue-driven brain activation combining learned predictions with stress responses. But they're temporary. They peak in 15 to 30 minutes and then subside if not acted upon. That knowledge alone, that waiting works, can be incredibly powerful. If you find this helpful, subscribe to MedHeads. I'm Dr. Fergal Armstrong. Stay well.